Darren Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Darren Tuttle back with you again. It is your Friday lunchtime weather update. We're going to recap what happened last night and this morning and then get on to the next event, which will be the cold air that continues to pile in here for the weekend. And then, of course, the next storm system that also approaches us for the latter half of our weekend into the beginning of next week. So I'm glad you're with me, glad you joined me. Do me a favor as always. Please like and share this video. Hit the O button. Doesn't take much, just a thumb or a forefinger. Or you can use a middle finger. Just careful where you point that middle finger. But anyway, so that way the algorithms can let you know you guys actually enjoy this stuff. Charles, he says, all hail the GFS and boo the Euros. So he's already taken a sneak peek at the data himself, and he's getting all excited. Or maybe he's getting depressed. I'm not sure. We're going to look at that stuff here in a second. Tell you what I think is going to happen. So Stephen Mazel, appreciate you, brother. Yes, I see you. Glad to have you here. Let's take a look outside. For our lunchtime, we've got a nice, pleasant, balmy 25 degrees. We've warmed up about, 6-7 degrees since earlier this morning. Northwest wind. It's still gusting at times. I see up around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Clear skies, though, here across Oklahoma City. And so we are going to be seeing a little bit of some sunshine before we start to see some cloud cover roll back in. By the way, thank you for the stars out there. I see you, David. And Mary and Lauren for this lunchtime. Bill's in the house with some stars, and Shelly and Cheryl. Appreciate you. Real quick, I'm going to post the link if you are tuning in late and you'd like to get notifications or just a message from me through the broadcast channel. You can click the link I just posted in the Facebook comments section. I've got about 5,000 of you now that have joined, so join the party. And that way you will get a notification when something of interest happens that I think you need value and you won't want to miss. And typically that's just my lives or maybe my blog that I post on Sundays. Shannon, thank you for the stars as well. So let's take a look here at the winds across the state. Now those are in the red little icons you see on the screen. Those are those little vector images. This is basically a value in knots, but we'll just look at it here with the gusts and the numbers, which is a value in miles per hour. And that's these little guys right here. So you can see gusts up here to 20, 26, 21, 22. You can see temperatures across the state in red all the way down to 30, and then back up here into the 20s. So we've gotten out of the teens here with the exceptions like of Bartlesville and Miami. So it's a windy day out there. That's going to continue. The freezing line runs right down here across southwest Oklahoma, and this freezing line will progress to the north and east during the afternoon. So it may end up situating something like this, cutting the metro right about in half, and then kind of going like this. So everywhere south of this line, you get above freezing. Everywhere north of this line, you still stay at or below freezing. So that's the way it looks like it should shape up for the afternoon. Now, as far as any advisories are concerned for traveling, all the inclement weather is now off to our north and east. Winter weather advisories continue for parts of Missouri, but some heavy snow and storm watches and warnings up here as you travel toward the Chicago region to the upper Midwest, Kansas City, just north of there, etc. Okay, so what happened last night? Okay, so this is a replay in the data. So I want to kind of show you what happened while most of you were probably asleep. And we'll start it right, let me start it right here. All right, so last night I mentioned very light stuff here. May not cause some slip spots on some bridges, etc. And that even happened. It looks like everything kind of behaved itself. We did see some flurries, which is what you're going to see here, moving through central Oklahoma that traveled from northwest to southeast over the Oklahoma City metro area. Yes, it did snow, but it was very light, very flurry activity. Otherwise, I mentioned last night how that band of moisture would kind of work in this area, and along with the storm system way it was shaping up, that my best forecast area for accumulating snows, if I remember that map I showed you, was kind of in this area. So I'm going to show you and put this into motion. You're going to see where the heavy precipitation broke out. See this? Not bad, huh? About the best I can do for you. Not perfect. but it's not bad. So that's what your accumulating snow was last night into this morning. Eastern Oklahoma, western, northwestern Arkansas. All right, so where's the next system? We're saying goodbye to this one. Let's see what happens. Has anything changed? In other words, the model's backed off either on the track, have they adjusted the track, or have they adjusted the amount? So here's a look at the jet stream pattern. Here's a look at that system coming in off the Pacific Northwest, diving down through the Rockies. Not well organized. It's just a big cluster of lift, broad, long, detailed lift that moves through for Sunday into Monday morning. That moves out, and if you'll notice also Monday afternoon and a Monday evening, here's that secondary punch that comes in, and I was probably the first person to tell you that, 4 days ago, that we'll have a secondary kicker that comes in behind it. Won't do much, but it's a little light dusting of snow on top of it for a late Monday and a Monday night time frame. So that's still going to on the table. Nothing has changed from that. So the system is still progressed to move directly overhead. The devil's in the details, though. Last night it had a little better organization to it, so it's kind of more stronger, kind of more concentric. Now it's kind of more broad and diffuse. I don't like that trend. That means you'll have lower snowfall totals, and the exact placement is going to be difficult. When we look at the overall lift in the atmosphere, by the way, a couple of things here. Let me see if this will show up for the data Saturday morning. It may not show up on this map, but I'm going to show you something here. Let's see. So there's it doesn't show up a whole lot, but typically when you have an Arctic front that comes in that kind of replaces or moves through already what we had an Arctic air mass, you can squeeze out some snow, and there's a little bit of light lift along that boundary. Now this does show some lift, but it's not really in the Arctic zone that I like to see. This is just generic lift from the overall pattern. So I'll show you what that looks like in a vertical dimension here in a minute. But let's go to Sunday. Here's mid-morning. So you can see we got the colors starting to build. That means we should start to see some cloud cover develop. And then we'll start to see some snow where it starts to get heavier in the little red area. So by Sunday afternoon, we should start to see some snow develop here across the state. Now you notice that red area was kind of, the darker red colors are kind of in this zone. So you know what that means is that's the stronger area of lift, which should coincide to more snow. And we'll see what happens. So there's a little secondary batch down here as we head into Sunday evening, into Monday, into North Texas. And we'll talk about that here in a second as well. So this system, not super strong. Atmosphere is dry, so we've got a couple things going against us, but the snow ratios are quite high, like we mentioned before, so it won't take much moisture to get some decent snow. All right, so here's a look at the how things ought to break out here according to the NAM model. You can see the snowfall here at lunchtime, already into parts of central Oklahoma, northwest, into Kansas. As we go throughout the afternoon, it takes the bulk of the heavy stuff to our north and east. Doesn't mean that it won't happen south. See, it does develop southward here. It's just kind of the way this model tries to interpret how the lift will evolve and change over to precipitation. But as we head into the evening hours, that kind of moves out for Monday, continues on off to the east. And here comes that secondary wave just now entering the picture up here for Monday evening, and that'll quickly move through the state overnight Monday. All right, here's a close-up view of that here just for Oklahoma. And there it is, moving through. So this is mostly a Sunday daytime event with the evening hours by midnight down across southeast Oklahoma, and then it's all said and done. Okay, so the European has come out, and it's getting lamer and lamer each run. It actually has a few runs here where it has no snow at all. In this 50 ensembles, it says, okay, there's like 5 of us or 4 of us that don't say it's going to snow at all. Now, the ones still do, so it's still overly confident. But if you average all these numbers out, it says Oklahoma City only gets maybe an inch of snow. That's pretty lame, considering in some of its prior outputs, we saw some wild data over the course of a week up to a foot. So that's why when you see those long-term snowfall maps, you don't take them seriously. What you do, I did that again. What you do, though, is pay attention to the trend and see which way it goes. And like I said, 48 hours out is when you really have a good idea on snowfall amounts. Now, other thing I want to show you here is December 23rd, 24th. You see all these little signals. So we've got another storm system coming our way that the models are hinting at. They're sniffing with their little super sniffer. So that is our next time we'll discuss whether or not we will see any snow in Oklahoma. Now, if we do look at the ensemble data from a wide range of all of our models, you blend them together for Oklahoma City for this event, it's a little bit more excited. The black line is the average, and that's about 2 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City, but it ranges wildly from 5-6 inches up here at the top of the graph to a dusting down at the bottom. That has a huge range in model data, basically saying either from no snow to 5 inches of snow. If you look at the other suit of ensemble models, it has even a less excitement from the SREF. It's around an inch of snow here in Oklahoma City, but still a wide range from the 5 inches at the top end to dusting at the bottom end. If you look at that in a flat dimensional plane, you can see how that unfolds. So this is why the European kind of went a little sad for us. Not much snow here in Oklahoma City, just a dusting. Has that secondary batch down here. Remember we saw that secondary red area, get a little darker. So that's why there's a higher amount of snow here. And of course, the heavier, darker area of red was up here. So that means you kind of split the state in half. Now this is the European trying to be very specific. Will it be that way? We'll see. Now the NAM model has a lot more snow output with that, but same kind of idea. That little nudge here of not much happening with better lift to our south and east and also to our north and east. So right now, this is the trend over the last 24 hours that has developed. So this being this close into the event, this is probably the way we're going to go. Let's see, the Icon model, still giving up hope, but it's northwest to southeast with a lot more precipitation, snow potential to go. So I'm not mad at it. I'd much prefer this outcome just because I like snow. The GFS, we talked about that. It's a laughing stock of the model, but every now and then, like a broken clock, it's right. But it does have that northwest-southeast flow. It keeps the moisture even in the central parts, so except for the southwestern, you still get a dusting, but not much. But you can see here it's got 6 inches. So still, the models today vary between nothing to 6 inches of snow. And we're not that far away from the events. Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. So we're now just almost in that 48-hour window. The next model run will be in that, and that's when we get our best estimate. Okay, so also want to show you, and this is what I was going to show you the map a minute ago. Take a vertical slice of the atmosphere, cross-sectional view. I wanted to show you what snow flurries looks like when an Arctic front comes in. So on this map, this time goes this direction. T for time. Okay, we're in physics class now. Pay attention, folks. So what happens here is you get here's Saturday morning. You get a lot of lift right here. This is omega. All right, this is along the frontal Arctic zone that comes in. What happens is with that, there is a trapped area of moisture along that leading edge of the boundary that also, when it hits the other air mass, helps to produce a little bit of cloudiness and precipitation. So, but it's so low the ground. So the snow growth layer is actually in that shallow layer of the Arctic zone, and therefore you can squeeze out flurries. So don't be surprised Saturday morning from basically daybreak to noon in that window as this cold front moves through central Oklahoma. You are going to squeeze out some snow flurries for our Saturday and some cloud cover to go with it. Just a short little deal. Not going to add much. Don't get excited. It'll be pretty to see. The kids will get excited and smile, and everybody smiles. Everybody smiles at flurries. So they're non-threatening. And then you can say after that, we're dry again. There's no moisture to speak of until we hit into Sunday afternoon. And there's all that moisture here with the omega over the snow growth layers. That means all this starts to saturate the atmosphere, and it does start to come down. But it does have to overcome some dry air at the surface at the Sunday morning. So at some point from noontime onward is fair game here in Oklahoma City to start to saturate the lower part of the atmosphere. So that is your vertical profile of the atmosphere I want to show you. Stuff I like to use in winter forecasting. So for all the other copycat meteorologists, there you go. Do that and your forecast will improve. That's some shade. All right, let's go down to Dallas. Let's take a look at North Texas. Those guys are always chicken to talk about any severe, winter weather possibilities down there. They wait to the absolute last minute, and they only do it when the Weather Service does it. I don't know what's going on down there. But for the several days now, the European has said you guys are going to have to deal with a little bit of an icy mix, with a little bit of snow is mixed in as well. Here's the latest look at that. So here's Sunday in the evening hours. Still got that little batch here of probably some very light freezing rain drizzle mix. Right here, even says so on this little map here. Because you still have some dry air here in the mid-levels and some at the lower levels and not a whole lot of lift. But that will change during the evening, so it should transition to a little bit more sleet mixed in with that as you go to midnight into 3 a.m. So quite a bit heavier here, so for example. And it'll probably get mixed with snow. So here we go. So there's a little sleet and snow on the graphic as the atmosphere moistens up quite a bit more with those two lines close to one another. So if Dallas, Fort Worth, North Texas, you are going to get a mixed bag civil winter weather event. So you guys have a little winter storm coming your way. And yes, that blue equals snow, so you will get a little bit of snow in DFW. Not much, though. Most of your event is going to be in the form of sleet. So we'll be trouble spots all across north and central Texas and eastern Texas, anywhere you see here in the color-coded areas, through Monday morning. And then by lunchtime, it starts to move off to the east. and it's in Louisiana after that. Amounts down here in the state, depends on what model you believe, they're all over the place, but the general consensus is kind of in this quadrant here is where they're duking it out. So that's the NAM, there's the Canadian, there's the American, there's another version of the Canadian long-term version, and there's the European. So the European is a little bit more to the north, which includes Dallas-Fort Worth. So if you're saying which is the one you would pick right now, I'd pick the European. So I'd go with this configuration. So Dallas-Fort Worth kind of on the northern fringe of that, and that's why you get a little bit more snow mixed in on the back end. Otherwise, it's squeeze play between you and Bryan College Station, back out to the hill country, Austin, almost to San Antonio, then out east toward Tyler, Texarkana area, and Louisiana. So there's where your ice is going to be for this event. At least amounts aren't going to be very high. So it shouldn't be power outages, but it will be driving problems. Okay, so let's take a look at temperatures. Like we said today, we start off into the teens this morning, and we're rebounding to the 20s. Like I said, I don't think we'll get this warm. I think we'll put the brakes on. Let's see, this the model I picked. Yeah, I still think it's a little warm. I still think it'll be kind of cut like this. So we'll see what happens in Oklahoma City. Officially at the airport, we may get it, whereas like the north side of town doesn't, as far as the freezing point goes. But let's turn into a Saturday. So this is where I'm going to talk about the next big push that comes in. Here's 6 o'clock in the morning. So the Arctic front is already working its way through the I-44 corridor, Oklahoma City, out along I-40, and this wave is pushing southward. Temperatures dropping quickly behind it. You can see, again, there's a 10-degree temperature in Enid, 8 degrees Ponca City. So very cold Saturday morning. You can see how throughout the day that cold air keeps coming in. We're down into the teens by lunchtime across a good chunk of the state, exception probably the southern third of Oklahoma. But you guys will still try to cool down or at least hold steady. And your temperatures up here may try to rebound a little bit, but otherwise it is going to be a nasty day for Saturday. Look at those temperatures stay into the teens here in Oklahoma City and points to the north. And then they, of course, cool down once the sun starts to set. So Saturday evening, we're already back in the single digits across northern Oklahoma. And then as we head into Sunday, early morning hours, woo, it is cold. Look at that. We're down around 0 up here in the northern counties of northeastern parts of the state. Otherwise, low single digits pretty much elsewhere. That is a cold Saturday, and a cold start to Sunday. Sunday afternoon, by the way, doesn't get much better, so don't look for any really good rebound. We'll be in the teens again. So here's a look at the gusts. So there'll be quite a bit of windy conditions out there here for this morning, calming down a hair. So here's lunchtime. Still winds up around 20 to 30 miles per hour. As we get into the afternoon, there's that little lull that starts to show up out across western Oklahoma. Then this evening, the winds die off. It's like they never happened, like they were never here. And then on tomorrow, they start to pick back up again with the Arctic front. See this little thin line right here in the cut in the data? There you go. So there's your Arctic blast coming in. And the winds will pick up behind that boundary as we head into the early morning hours on Saturday. So when you get up, we're right back up to 30-plus mile per hour wind gusts moving through the state. And that's going to affect those wind chills here, which I'll show you here in a second. Then they will calm down a hair, just a hair for the afternoon, still into the 20s and even to the evening hours. And then as we head into Saturday night and Sunday morning, that's when they start to die off quite a bit, exception down here across southeast Oklahoma. Because remember, at this point in time, another reason why I kept the winds up is because you have the snowfall coming down. That aids to momentum transport of energy. And we hit that in the form of wind. All right, so let's go to the wind chill values. So obviously today was a little unsettling if you weren't prepared for it and you didn't pack your coat. This afternoon, though, wind chills do recover. Let's go into Saturday. Here we go. So we'll go to 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the morning. Wind chill values below 0 across most of Oklahoma through the morning hours. Feels like minus 10 at times. As we head into the afternoon, it'll rebound some, still below 0 across basically the northern half of the state. Southern half of the state, single digits is what it's going to feel like. So make sure you bundle up for Saturday. And then Sunday morning, we're going to start you off same idea into the negative teens across a large area of at least the eastern half of the state. Remember, because winds kind of backed off a little bit. But as the winds pick back up, these numbers will dip back down for our Sunday afternoon. So we'll be in the negative numbers all day on Sunday for wind chills. Temperature-wise, like we mentioned, today we've already had our high, so won't see that. But as far as, actually I'm not sure we were going to hit that at all. Even at midnight we didn't hit that, so this is just a bad number. As we head for Saturday, like we talked about, we're going to spend pretty much the entire day into the teens. This is our overnight temperature around midnight or so before that front comes in the early morning hours. Sunday, like we said, we're going to be close to the low 0 degree mark for Oklahoma City in the morning hours and teens for the day. And also for Monday, because the snow cover, cross your fingers for that, will help to keep the also a little bit colder, plus that final reinforcing shot of cold air. It will be the negative numbers for Monday and Tuesday for morning lows. What would allow this to get colder, both of these time frames, is if we can get out the clear skies. If the winds can die off and the skies can clear, we'll be much below these two values, just so you know. Otherwise, slow rebound on Tuesday. We might hit 20 if we're lucky. Depends on how cold we start in the morning. And then otherwise, again, Wednesday and Thursday, caution on the big warm-up. Getting to freezing is the first challenge you have to bust. So that's usually going to be spent on Wednesday, spending the whole day trying to get there. There's another Arctic front that's going to come in here, that's going to backdoor in here for Thursday, so we may not hit this because of the timing on that. We'll see. Didn't spend a lot of time looking at that because there's obviously plenty of other things to do. So here's a Weather Service's stab at it here real quick. For accumulating snow, so they're jiving with the general model trend, northwest, southeast. So basically this part of the state gets the next storm system as far as snowfall amounts go. Now they're not going to highlight those little heavier bands like we saw in the data, but they will adjust as we get closer to the event. But otherwise, that's their first stab at as far as official measurements of snow are concerned. And you can update these numbers a little bit higher for northeast Oklahoma, maybe in the 3 to 4 category would be a safe call at this point in time. Arctic air, yeah, we already know about that. That's let's see what else they got. Dangerous temperatures, yes. So some highlights that we talked about here for the last few days about frostbite. Be careful. Make sure you dress properly and in layers. Damage to pipes, unprotected outdoor plumbing will occur during this time frame of the next few days. So protect those pipes. Drip your indoor faucets. Open up the cabinets. Obviously bundle up. Know how to properly operate heat sources. Check on your neighbors, elderly, and animals. Provide warm shelter and unfrozen water to outdoor animals. That's very important because those pets are like our kids. So make sure you limit the time for them outside. Of course, they'll limit their own time. When they get out there, like, oh, forget this. Unless they're a Siberian Husky, they're not going to like that at all. So anyway, so there you go. That is the absolute latest that there is to tell you. My plan is to do a update on Saturday, probably around lunchtime or maybe like a little in the afternoon, for about 1 o'clock-ish. I'll wait for the European model data to come in. So I have all the entire model suit for the final forecast for Sunday's event and Monday. And then remember, if however much snow we do get, it will be sticking around because temperatures will not thaw out for a while. Plus, on top of that, it can be pretty decent. I'm going to, let's see, did I want to show you this? Let me see, I was looking at so much today. Yeah, let's do this. All right, so this is the American model, the one that went really crazy with the snowfall here in Oklahoma City, for example, and really all of the state. And one of the reasons for that is the track and then how it bundles the energy of the storm system together. But if you look at this blue line, this is the snow ratio. All right. Now the scale of this is over here on the left. That's 15, 20, 25. So by the time we get to Sunday, right here, our snow ratio quickly goes up from the mid-teens, upper teens, to the low 20s to plus almost 25. So that's a 25-to-1 snow ratio, which means that the snow that happens is going to be very, very airy. It will blow around, very light. You won't be able to compact it in a snowball or snowman. The kids are going to have a rough time, whatever snow they do get. But it also can mean the roadways have a lot of it blow off, right? It may not be so treacherous. So that's the positive. That's the good news. We'll see how that all pans out. But anyway, so that's part of that. And this is the GFS just to show you why it's going so nuts with the snow. So this is the, so we'll outline this for you. This will be the last thing I'll do and I got to go. But this is the snow growth layer that we're talking about, okay? And this is between 10 and 15,000 feet. The second thing we'll look at is the amount of moisture that we have. And the moisture with our first system was very starved and limited, so that's why we didn't get a whole lot out of it. But our secondary system for Sunday, so here is the moisture that overlays from way up to 25,000 feet, and then kind of does this little dude all the way down here at the bottom, something like this, right? Okay, so in other words, we've got a lot of moisture in this column of the atmosphere to work with next time around, and it juxtaposed with the snow growth layer, which is good. And finally, these little red areas are omega or lift in the atmosphere, and they coincide as well. So in other words, the GFS, the reason why it likes so much snow, and it's not a bad thing, because if this actually were to verify as you see it, the GFS is right. We would get a lot of snow here in central Oklahoma. But this is the reason why, because it's got all the omega right over the snow growth layer, right over the higher saturation for humidity levels. Down here, the drier air gets replaced, and as all this continues to precipitate. It's participating, all right, precipitating down to the surface. Then, as things change over, remember, time goes from right to left. So then we get to the period of Monday morning, and all this comes to an end, wraps up, because we don't have any more red on the map. In other words, there's none of these little red circles like these guys. So there's no more omega, no more lift. So it means the only thing you have to produce precipitation will just be the cold air itself squeezing out moisture. And that's why you have this new snow growth layer down here. If you've noticed a little outline here, that's the new snow growth layer, just because we're trapped in this little pattern of Arctic air and inversion layers, and etc. So you can squeeze out this little light snow, flurries and stuff in this type of a situation. And then I'm going to clear this out so I can point to the event here for Monday evening. So what happens is you get a little disturbance that comes through, provides a little bit of lift right here into the snow growth layer over a little area of humidity, very small window of time. This is a 6-hour window, which is enough to practice on this word, precipitate down here to where you do get some snow accumulation, and it's not much. It says 3/10. All right, so that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a dusting of snow for that secondary part of the way. But that's what it looks like when you're not looking at 2D maps. You have to visualize, a 3D atmosphere. You can take a vertical slice of it, and you can do the same thing, but in this plane, and you can see everything that's happening to give you, the meteorologist, an idea of going, I know what it's doing, I know why it's doing it, and therefore I know why it has the outcome that it has. So there you go. That's just some more meteorology for you, one-on-one. If you're new here, I've been doing this for a long time, and so we always do a little weather lesson, which some of it you may look at and go, I don't know what he's talking about, and others of you may, that's really cool. So each to their own. I like the weather. I'm sure most of you do too, so that's kind of why I throw that in there for you. But that's it for me. Let's see. Yep, it's time for me to go. So you guys have the rest. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay warm. Stay safe. You know what to do by now, unless you've been living under a rock. And even if you were, you just crawled out and you just saw what's happening. So you have no excuse not to be ready. And do not buy all the milk and bread. I already heard that the shelves are empty yesterday. Like, what's wrong, man? So, but yeah, so there you go. But yeah, be safe out there, and glad you guys are with me. Make sure you like and share the video. Again, join that group page, or the Facebook broadcast page if you haven't done already. I'll paste the link in here again. That way you can do it. What else? Thank you for the stars. If you'd like to, I'm wearing my hoodie because I do have AT's weather hoodies. You can get, Jody posts the link in these broadcasts. You can click on it. You can always find any of this stuff and everything else on my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. And then finally, my weather app as well, AT's Weather to Go. You can track the storm systems, and you can track the road conditions on that, various other things, and always keep up to date. So that's it for me. You guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Take care.